Greetings and welcome to the best content creator for Kill Team from Warhammer 40,000. Yourself, myself, the Crit Man. Please remember to like and subscribe as well as comment and give me lots of money. But let's get into today's important video. It's actually been something people have demanded for a lot. And you know what? Might as well get it out of the way. Let's rate the countries who are the best for Kill Team. So I'll be going through this really in depth using scientific knowledge and mainly my own opinions to fortify and establish the final groundwork to show who are the best for Kill Team in terms of countries. So it's not singular players who has the best players and best performing overall. So it's going to be super thorough and super in depth and probably won't cause any drama at all. So let's get into it. Let's get into this amazing tier list. So, this is miniaturized in the corner, but we'll start off in C tier. So for C tier, we have Canada. Canada's a very nice country. I've technically been there once when I stopped over to go to Nova, and Canada is very nice and they have very nice people. But the problem when it comes to Kill Team, they're too friendly. They're too nice. They'll come up to events. They'll say, how you doing? You beat them in games and they just go, that was amazing. Look at us. Who would have thought? Us just being here. So for that reason, they're C tier. There's still some good Canadian players, but mostly they're really chill, really friendly, and really nice. So for that reason, they're in the C tier. Maybe that will improve. We'll see. Next, we have the B tier. And in B tier, we're stepping up. C tier is quite okay. In B tier, we have Britain. So all the British players have grouped them together. Some people would make an argument that it's basically England carrying Britain. I'm not going to say anything as controversial as that, but as a whole, the British, we're the home of Warhammer, so we should be the best. But as is tradition, we made a game and we're not the best at it, so we're still B tier. We technically have big events, but that's because Games Workshop is in our country. We have some good players. Some of them go to overseas and win those foreign events and invade, stake a claim. But anyway, generally the British players are very good. And as a whole, I'd put them on B on average. So if you're a British person and you're going to a tournament, you have at least a 50% chance of winning. That's how these tier lists work. So it does come a bit weird if you're going to a British only event, because then you could argue it's either 100% or 0%, but generally it's a 50%. Now we come to the A tier, and in the A tier, we have the Americans. Technically the largest populace of players. They're everywhere. They're growing every month, and soon they will take over everything. But with their skill, they bring freedom. Freedom of relying on statistics and data. American players are very good. There's lots of them. They run all these big events. Adepticon, LVO, Nova. I may not have mentioned Nova that much. And, Games Workshop is a UK-based company, but they always do their grand tournament series, their, finale for all the international players in America. So for that reason, America is definitely in the A tier. And if you are American, you have a 100% chance to win an event. The only downside is it has to be an event in your country. So that's the only downside. That's the main weakness of Americans, because they do travel a lot across their own countries, but generally A tier. So in the S tier for countries for Kill Team, we have Spain. The great Spain. And, I did actually use some data for this. I know, frowned upon. But generally, Spain have the most events. America's chasing down on them, but haven't caught them just yet. And they've won all these events. And, let's look at the last year's ITC rankings from 2022 to 2023, right? So I actually didn't do a video on ITC, but it's worth mentioning, so I'll bring up the top 8 now. So as you can see, the top 3 players, we have Ace, Carlos, and then Lazarast. So top 3 players in the world for last season, all Spanish. Wait, hold on. Who's that in 4th place? Oh, it's me. Oh, but I'm British. Okay. And then we've got Ryan Slater. He's from the UK as well. And then, we have these Americans. Then below them, some more Spanish. Now, I was actually going off of data for refining these tier lists because, as you can see, technically America has the most players compared to the UK, and they are winning more tournaments because they're hosting more. But I know people don't really like the stats anymore. And you know what? People are right. And I know the Americans would accept that. So because the fourth and fifth best players in the world last year were British, including me, who's British, I'm going to fix the tier list just now. So you'll see the new tier list now. There we go. Anyway, Spain are in S tier because they are very strong. They have an undefeatable setup. Some people say they've mastered the fabledness of BCP and ITC. And, some of us actually know what those words mean. But the Spanish, they are honestly really hard to defeat. They are strong. They're good at the game. They are just very tough and fun people to play against, And they're great hobbyists. So it's really hard to find anything to hate about them. But you could argue their perfection makes them hateable. So, maybe they're too perfect. Maybe one day the Spanish will slip up and then we'll all be there above them. Anyway, the Spanish are really strong. It's undeniable. They have a really high success rate of winning events. So if you're Spanish, you have effectively like a 90% chance to win an event. So the Spanish won LVO. The Spanish won Warhammer World. So they've technically claimed America and the UK. They've won Spain, obviously. There's rumors they're spreading out all over Europe to capture all of the European tournaments. So eventually no one's going to be safe. But, the Spanish are really nice. If you do want to beat the Spanish, try and, talk about Spanish food, but how it's prepared in your country, That was the one thing they let slip up, When I bought them Spanish food in America, oh, wow, they almost lost it. Anyway, that's pretty much it for the tier list. So I hope this non-drama, everyone loves tier lists, so I finally cemented it, because people are always asking, what was the best country in the world for Kill Team? Now, if you're wondering why your country isn't on that list, I'll have another tier list next year, so you can tune in for that next year. But that's pretty much it for me. And just remember, here's the secret best country in the Kill Team community. It's the Philippines. I'm half Filipino and half British. So technically, I'm in the SSS+++ tier and the A tier. So shout out to my Filipino brothers and sisters who are actually holding down, the scene. If you play in Manila, seriously, they have a solid scene. But the Philippines are the best. And see you next time. Love you all. Keep rolling crits and like and subscribe.